fuck with everything. I don't need no more to jump. No, you know I fuck with it. I don't need no more. With the Migos and everything. Art trap. Yeah. 20 keys to the boom bap. 18 jugs like a Julio art trap. New cutter for a template. In the backyard on a flat door. Tryna get a line on straight cash. Can't record cause a Mac broke. Started from the bottom with a order. Make a beat, get a wrench check. Sure they do need a whip and a go check. But it's harder when the water in a ring neck.
Make us some money, do for your family, get you a diamond.
What next?
Wait on it, fuck is you doing?
20 keys to the boom bap. 18 jigging like a Julio art trap. On the line, connect now. Need the whole thing and I'm feeling nigga heart rap. Yeah. I need the whole thing and I'm feeling nigga heart rap. Fuck is you dumb? 20 keys to the boom bap. 18 jigging like a Julio art trap. On the line, connect now. I need the whole thing and I'm feeling nigga heart rap. Cause you dumb.
Yeah. Fuck is you dumb?
Cause you dumb.
Fuck is you dumb? Cause you dumb.
Yeah. I'm the nigga with the juice. I'm the nigga with the pills and the trees and the loose. I'm the nigga with the trip. I'm the nigga with the stoners and the rollers and the hippies. I'm the nigga with the squad. I'm the nigga with the drillers and the killers and the mob. I'm the nigga on the guard. I'm the nigga that you call when you wanna do the job. 16, that's a whole thing. That's a 36, that's a grip of the whole check. Good credit on the prepaid. Keep a flip phone, hit a nigga with a nose ring. I'm the nigga with the boost. Hit him with a shell case for his watch, that's a G-shot. Not a nigga on the loose. 3 shots to the head, drug life, nigga, 2 5. Fuck is you doing? Bitches, they want me, they know. They tell me I'm gone. My name ain't they buzzing, they know that I'm gone.
Fuck is you doing?
20 keys are the same old. Nigga trade his soul for a bankroll. It's your brain on hard trap. Jigging on the corner till the case closed.
20 keys to the boom bap. 18 jigging like a Julio art trap. On the line, connect now. Need the whole thing and I'm feeling nigga heart rap. Yeah. I need the whole thing and I'm feeling nigga heart rap. Fuck is you dumb? 20 keys to the boom bap. 18 jigging like a Julio art trap. On the line, connect now. I need the whole thing and I'm feeling nigga heart rap. Cause you dumb.
Fuck is you dumb?
Cause you dumb.
Fuck is you dumb?
Cause you dumb.
Cause you dumb.
Yeah.
Scotty with BB with them swishes. Get a line. I understand what you take. I understand what you take. Come and go, and I'll get you with love. Now the devil wears fire. Y'all know the devil's roll, what is it, fire?
on. There we go. Yo,
Yo,
Efdot, how you living?
doing well, man. How you doing? Thanks for having me on.
Nah, man. Thanks for joining me, man. Thanks for joining me on Artist to Artist Conversations, bro. Like this means a lot because we met a couple years ago, and kindred spirit, especially in his art game, man. So, where you calling from?
I am at the studio right now. I'm in Brooklyn, in Bushwick.
Oh, hell yeah. I love New York. I miss New York. I think I live in LA. I think I like New York way better than I like LA. What's your vote on that?
I think I like New York better than I like LA as
I
well.
feel that. I'm switching my camera over really quick. 1 second.
But I like some things about LA. LA's got some beautiful beaches.
Right? The weather. Can't go
The
bad
weather,
with the weather. One
yeah.
second. I'm fixing my camera. Technical difficulties, art stuff, art stuff, art stuff. Here we go. There we go. We back live. Okay. I'll change it back in a second. Yeah, man. I think the realness in Brooklyn, or just even New York in general, resonates a little bit more with me, like that rawness. You born and raised in New York, right?
Yeah, I was born and raised just outside of New York City. And then ever since I could, I basically lived in the city. Went to college in Philly, took a couple years away as well to live in Latin America. And
oh
travel a
wow.
lot. And we can get into that story a little bit if you want. But yeah, most of my life's been in New York and around New York City.
Yeah. What'd you go to school for in Philly?
Graphic design and
Okay, I thought you were gonna say
product
something
design.
about like a lawyer or like a pediatrician.
Yeah, I should just pull one of those out of my hat whenever someone asks me.
Yeah, right. So man, so I think we met during the pandemic, like the tail end of the pandemic. So about 2.5 years ago. That was dope. What were you traveling in Chicago for at that time?
What was I there for? I think I was just visiting some friends on that trip out
Oh
in
yeah.
Chicago. Yeah, I've been wanting to do a workshop there, so I was also having some meetings. Um, my partner does workshops as well, and she travels around, and I like to just kind of hop on the trip. So she's
Yeah,
a little
that's
more
dope.
organized than me. She's booked out like months in advance on this stuff, like really far. So
No,
a lot of
but it seems. No, go ahead. I'm sorry to cut
like
you
that
off.
was this
Go ahead.
last weekend too. Like we went to Philly. She had a few workshops going on, and I was more like having meetings
Oh,
and
I
meeting
dig
with
it.
friends. Yeah.
Yeah, I get to cross pollinate, right? Turn it into work and pleasure. Get to go together, spend some time together, and also do the things we need to do to hustle. You are a busy man. You find your way in different pockets of the world, allowing art to take you there. Like, so is it like all relationship? I mean, everything's relationship based essentially, but how are you like discovering like these opportunities? You got like brand partnerships, but then you also like are you travel a lot and do residencies. How is that? What are you putting out into the universe to attract those type of opportunities?
Well, I mentioned before that I went to school for graphic design, so it's kind of ingrained in me to do commercial art.
Yeah.
Um, but over the last 7 or 8 years, I wanted to go from being the type of graphic designer that gets hired for the client to execute their vision
Mm,
to being the graphic designer that already has a style, already has an art portfolio, and is mainly getting hired for that and mixed with commercial design.
yep.
I think there's two different types of graphic designers. There's, yeah, the one that doesn't have a style and kind of blends into whatever the client needs. And then there's like the artist designer that has a style, still can work with graphic elements in a way that is like mutually a part of the vision of the brand and the artist. Um, so yeah, like those came naturally to me, and I've just been trying
Yeah.
to maintain relationships and keep working on my fine art, which inspires my design work, and vice versa. And other than that, like the residencies and the different types of art opportunities, I think a lot of that has come from the Web3 space, like meeting
Really?
smart and interesting people through them, either collecting my work or curating a show, or collecting a friend of mine work, and then I'm going
Damn.
to an event and I meet them there. And just the quality of humans that I've met through people collecting my work has gone way up over the last few years.
Yo, Web3 is is and was at the very beginning a game changer, bro. Like it was so rich. I mean, that's the reason why you and I were aware of each other, is because of Web3 gave artists a reason to be on Twitter or Clubhouse and to constantly share art and give tips and connect, and just especially outside of our respective cities. Like, because I was operating out of Chicago and a bit of LA, and you were in New York. What was that thing that like attracted you to Web3? Because you took it by storm, man. You did. You got, like you said, the collectors, and you got you have a lot of featured drops. So what was that carrot that got you into Web3?
Well, I was doing a project shortly before joining this crazy digital world that was around physical collectibles. And I was designing a set of these baseball cards. I think you have one of them from when I visited you.
Yeah.
And that was my first time I had like a large number of collectors of any of my work. I was doing screen prints and paintings and drawings before, but I didn't have like a big community or people who were talking about the work each week as it would come out. And that project really helped me get a feel for like, do I like having this online community of collectors, and what are some of the drawbacks of that as well? So that kind of prepared me. And I also saw what happened with the value of those cards, like going all over the place. And so it kind of prepared me for some of the thick skin that you have to have to join this sometimes over financialized world of Web3, where at least if you're not going to be doing it yourself and participating, it's at least going to be in your ear and on your timeline. You have to get used to people talking and kind of that collector mindset, investor, collector, whatever you want to call it. But I found that the more I stay true to myself, the more I attract people who just want to have my art for what it is and the value that it holds off of the chart.
Yeah. How did you communicate to your collectors or your potential followers? Was it just mostly Twitter? Did you hold down a Discord, Telegram? What was that?
Yeah, so there was actually a lot of overlap between the people who were into those cards and into the digital collectibles and even the more limited editions and one-of-ones. So it was Twitter and Discord were my main things. At one point I had a Patreon going too, where I was offering like more behind the scenes and like early access to things when I would launch like the signed cards. And eventually that wasn't as sustainable for me to keep that going and having so many tiers and in my community. I just wanted to kind of treat it more flat.
Yeah.
So now it's just Twitter and Discord mainly. I do have a Telegram, but I don't have my own base for that.
Damn, bro, you were able to hold down a Patreon. I was like too all over I was too scatterbrained to hold down a Patreon.
I like the app. It's like it's very similar to posting on a social media platform. It's just it goes into the emails of the people who really want it. So there's no algorithm there. It's just chronological, and I liked that about it. Even if you had a free tier, like you can at least get access to your audience like directly.
Oh, true. Damn, I was just like, because I was working in corporate. Were you a full-time artist? Have you been a full-time artist for this? Like, how long have you been a full-time artist?
So I left my job at WeWork in 2019.
Oh shit! So like like right before the pandemic.
Yeah. I was at WeWork from 2016 until 2019. That's what kind of sent me down to Latin America to help them grow their team and to take the opportunity, because I always wanted to live abroad.
Yeah.
And, then when I got back, there wasn't really much of a job for me to do. They had grown so much, and there wasn't even a desk for me. It was like the company was going into a direction that I didn't want to stay for much longer. So I just left, started my own thing, or I already had my own studio going, but it wasn't a full-time thing until the end of 2019. All I had was like 2 murals lined up, and I was like, all right, that's enough. I'm gonna leave, and I'll figure the rest out as I go.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. And betting on yourself, man. Do you think if you had a full-time job, you would have got into like blockchain or Web3 stuff?
I definitely would have looked at it differently, because I would have seen it with less of my time. I wouldn't have had as much time to dedicate to educating myself as quickly as I could have, but I think it would have found me. It overlaps a lot of my interests. I'm also someone who likes to work in a more unstructured and more kind of fast paced. I only have a couple projects that are like long-term projects. And a lot of my stuff is like a drawing or a painting or a mural that I can get done in a week or 2 or less.
I see.
Yeah. So I would have found it, because I think the blockchain solves a need for me.
Yeah.
I just don't know if I would have looked at it as the thing to be like a part of the revolution, really, where artists are demanding this sort of sovereignty and this future focused vision where we own our work.
Yeah. How's are you so like such a stickler on like the whole owning minting from your smart contract? I
Yeah.
personally, yeah, right. Because I personally dropped on Nifty Gateway, and it's hard for me to find my own art on like OpenSea or whatever because it's under another wallet address or some weird shit, you know.
Yeah, with that one, I had them create. They helped me out. They created a collection that combines all my Nifty Gateway work, and
Oh,
then they
nice.
transferred ownership of that collection to me. Technically,
Oh, sick.
I can't mint on that contract, but at least it says it's by me.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, it has all my work from Nifty Gateway all in one place, and they're all 721s, so
Oh,
it just
nice.
feels uniform. But yeah, for the most part, I've tried to mint on my own smart contract. My first piece was on my own smart contract using a service that doesn't exist anymore, and
There's a lot of that going around.
I won't be minting on that contract again. But the support that I got early on was also a big part of why I joined. There was just a lot of helpful people, interesting, knowledgeable people. Everyone was using it for different things. I think that's something we tend to forget. Like even with social media, we're all coming to these apps and these tools with different experience, with different needs, different wants. I do think we all have some universal needs and wants as humans, but we're
Yeah,
all in different positions in our lives. And for some artists, it's like they think it's going to change their life and make business easier. For some artists, it's more of a fuck around and find out, like have fun.
yeah.
And then that's like a whole spectrum. So I like that I get to have these chats and go deep.
Yeah, man. Like, do you like right now, are you minting any artwork? Because we get into your physical pieces, and I think a lot of times you might use some physicals and take a photo, maybe. I mean, I think your art would translate really well that way. Are you minting right now, or are you kind of holding off on the whole blockchain thing because the market is a bit wonky, I think?
I'm still minting. I haven't really changed the pace that much. I did a large drop in February last year, so about a year ago. I haven't done a large drop since,
Yeah.
but I've been working on two collections that are already like publicly shared, so I can share more about that. But they're long-term projects, not coming out super soon. In the meantime, I've just been minting one of ones by commission mostly. I do these physical drawings when I travel, and I have on my Shopify site, just on my Efdot Studio shop, that if you buy a drawing, there's like an extra commission fee if you want to get it animated and minted on the blockchain. So that's what I've been minting mainly. Yeah, if you go to the originals or the original art section. Yeah, so down some of these smaller drawings on the bottom.
Oh, nice.
These are my travel series where it's like on handmade paper, and I love to play with the physical elements, but then also bring these into the digital world. So I just minted one last night actually from this series.
Oh, dope. Yeah, I got me one over here. I just moved into a new apartment, so I haven't. This is a F dot exclusive right here with the optimism
Nice.
on there. You know.
Is that a print?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's what's up.
Um,
Thank you.
can't wait to frame it in here. I got to put some my art up in my crib.
How do you
Definitely
do
gonna
it
have
with your? Are you minting these days? Are you putting physical and digital work out there?
I don't really do too much physical on digital work. I've been doing, I do have some mint pieces that some pieces that I'm going to mint. I'm looking at Ape Chain. I got a couple pieces I'm gonna toss on there, not toss, but put on there, just to explore it because I'm a part of the Bored Ape community. And then I was looking to do some ordinals, but I don't know. I don't know if I can justify the price to put it on. I mean, have you inscribed yet?
Yeah, I did one piece last year as a part of a group drop. It was like 21 artists each doing their first ordinals piece.
Yeah.
And the organization that helped us kind of covered the inscription fees and then took that back from the sale essentially.
Oh, nice. So
Yeah.
basically, you didn't have to front it, and you didn't lose anything. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was a little earlier when that market was a little hotter, but I
Mm.
still believe in the ordinals. And I've been wanting to make a small collection just for that. So that's in the cards certainly for the next year or two. Really just intentional about it. And I'm not in any rush with that stuff. I think the technology is just going to get better.
Yeah. Right. Because it was like crazy expensive to like I was thinking of doing a PFP collection I've been working on, and as I was like just looking at how to make it cheaper, you can do the recursion, and then you can It's a bunch of techniques to get the mint price down or inscription price down. But JR from District, our former Oni Force, he did 111. It cost him like 20 grand to do it.
That's commitment right there.
The whole project was supposed to be on Ordinals, and they were like, we're going to Ape Chain and Abstract. Yeah.
I think you can't really deny there is the option now to do like super low cost minting. It's just about permanence.
Yeah.
And it's about decentralization versus more centralization. And yeah, everyone who I go deep with this topic, it always ends up back at that of like, which one's going to be around in 10 years from now? Mm-hmm. And so you put your best work, the work you're most confident in, on one of these layer ones.
Yeah, true.
And then you can mess around, and like I've done some base drops with additions.
Nice.
Just with whenever I make a piece, sometimes it's like, this is just perfect for an edition. Like I want multiple people to co-own this. I've been doing that with my murals in the world as well. Like, so that there's a divided ownership over that idea, that story of the mural.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's public art already, and it's like owned by everybody, but the idea of having an animated version of it has been really fun to break into editions. And that one's on L1, but I have some L2 editions as well.
I don't think I've seen those. Maybe I have. Is that the one, like, no, you showed me the one you were in a window and you were like turning that into an NFT when we met up in Consensus. What's the mural one? I don't think I've seen that one.
So that was if you go to fdotstudio.com/murals, actually the background behind this conversation right now is one of them.
You say go to murals?
Yeah, fdotstudio.com/murals.
There we go.
You might have to take the shop out. Yeah, the mural's on top there.
Oh yeah, I looked at this video. It's crazy.
That's the video. But with audio, it's in the murals link. We don't need it with audio right now. But basically, I went through my portfolio of murals, and I kind of looked at which ones really belong in my portfolio for the long run, and which ones should make it to the blockchain. Kind of the same question, but I wanted to do like 3 that were recent, 3 that were a little older, and then 3 that were gone, like already covered up in the world, no longer here. And so I took 9 murals total, brought them all into one collection, and kind of randomized it from there. So that if you got one mural, you might be given like just one of those 9. And then if you got all 9, then you get all 9, basically.
Oh shit. Yeah. But it's chance you can get doubles of the same one.
No, I made it so that if you got, if you wanted all of them, you just got all of them. But
I see.
That was some Nifty Gateway, Transient Labs magic. I owe a lot to them because I made their lives a little bit harder by wanting to do that one on Transient.
Yeah, I did a drop on Transient too. That's why we met up in Consensus. I was looking this way because that's my thinking face. Hold on, I gotta my laptop's about to die.
So speaking of murals, I just finished a couple murals last month, and those were in Mexico. I spent December in Mexico, and I've been working on animating and refining that work to be one of my first editions of this year. So
Damn.
just taking my time on that. That was with
how did you get that? You said what? You cut out.
I was just gonna give a shout out to the nonprofit that made that mural happen, which was Maya Spirits, and I can share more about that collab if you want.
Yeah, please, because my thing is, especially for artists, or just people in general, aren't aware of all the opportunities that could be in front of them based on relationships or just sending out emails for residencies or whatever it may be. So yeah, how did that nonprofit? How did that come about? The one in
So I've spent a considerable amount of time like in Mexico and Latin America. So I picked up some of the language and the culture, and I try to not just like come in there and do the art that I want to make. Like I'm trying to get inspired and give back and work with nonprofits and really like leave a mark on the place that feels like a gift, not so much like I'm trying to take, but trying to give. So I met this fellow named Liam about 1.5 years ago when I was going to Marfa for the first time. And he co-founded this nonprofit, Maya Spirits. We just connected on that Art Blocks weekend. And he told me about the work they're doing down there to conserve the jungle, which was under attack by people who are essentially stripping the resources, and it's hurting the biodiversity of the jungle. And it's one of the Earth's most important rainforests there in Calakmul in Mexico. And also there's these Mayan communities, these people that live in the jungle that need help. A lot of them are below the poverty line, and they do work to help educate them and give opportunities to grow businesses together. And they're working on some really cool things to uplift the communities that live there. And so they
Can you give me the name one more time? I'm gonna pull it up while you talk about it.
Maya Spirits. I have it in my pinned tweet too.
Okay, I'll just do that.
Yeah, they do amazing work. I have a video I've been working on to tell that story a little deeper, and the piece that we did. But it was a music festival that was donating to Maya Spirits, and they basically wanted a mural to represent the donation and the partnership between Maya Spirits and the festival. They also just announced a really cool retreat that's coming up. That one I'm not a part of, but
This is not the one.
That mural,
there your work is right there.
Yeah, that's the piece that we did in the jungle.
And you were there for a month?
I was in Mexico for a month. This project took about a week. And
bro, that's awesome.
It's funny. Like, I used to do this a lot where I would travel for work.
Oh, there you are right there.
Yeah, for scale. I used to like travel for work and then try to extend my trip, do these like quick street art collabs. And that's kind of what I did when I was there. Like I booked a one-way ticket. I had one project and then I turned it into 3. While you're down there, you just meet people.
Yeah, let's talk about that's pretty much just optimizing your time or your opportunities in your face. Is that like a mindset that you go into like all the time with certain with things like for instance, you and your partner, you travel, instead of just making a work thing, let's make it a thing for us, but also you benefit because now you got meetings. When you do things like this, one opportunity presents itself, but you don't just like live for that thing. You go try to see how else you can quote unquote exploit the situation, like take advantage of it. Is that is that how you're finding most of your opportunities or the things that's coming your way?
I've been really trying to make a considerable effort to live my life, like every decision that I have to make, from a place of passion, not from a place of needing to do something. And I find that the more I lean in on that, the more I can like get in touch with the best version of myself, the best version of my business and my relationship. Sounds like a lot easier said than done, and it is. But the more I can start each day with reminding myself what I'm passionate about and why, the more I can attract the kind of opportunities and have better conversations with people. Because I'm not so focused on getting something. I'm trying to see my work as a gift to the world and to my local community, and like the skills I have around building that. And then creativity and flow. These are the words that I like have written down in my journal that I look at every morning.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I've been working with a coach the last few months actually to improve my life and business. It's been pretty great.
A life coach.
He's a life and business coach, and it's been amazing so far. Yeah.
Oh shit. I think I need to look into one of those. I get so caught up in our heads and think prioritizing. I don't know. For me, prioritizing things over friends, family, even like loved ones, and partnerships. And I feel like sometimes it can overpower. You know what I'm saying? Like just over. And then like one thing, this the only thing that makes sense, or this is the only thing, and then I think I personally get hard-headed. Not an asshole per se, but like I can get hard-headed because I'm like tunnel vision. And I'm like, this is all that matters. I don't know.
Yeah, it's easy for our brains to just get stuck on a thought or stuck on a story that we're telling ourselves that might not be the one that's to the benefit of us or the people around us. And I can't explain why that happens. I think it's because we're so externally focused, perhaps. And the more we can breathe and kind of look inward, we already know a lot of times what's our next move we got to make. And that's all we need to know. We're sometimes too caught up on that like destination.
Yeah. The journey be the one. Question for you, like, one, yeah, like you said, you like heart and passion for the arts, and like you have the journal you look at every day. But some people are probably wondering, like, you got to monetize this thing to some degree, like, because they say artists are terrible business people. That's one question. And then also they are almost not even related. Were you a rebel as a kid, like drawing on shit, or like were you a good student? How was like were you the black sheep, or the Eric? I'm doxing. Was Eric like just a pain in the ass? Like, oh my god, he just never listens. Or were you like a pretty good student and all that? Yeah.
I think I was a good student as much as I could be. I was probably like a B student until high school. Then I started skateboarding, hanging out with a bunch of troublemakers, and I think my rebellious spirit started to grow there for sure, and wanting to not only get away with stuff that was not normal, but do it with style and do it with a way of like my own, and just
Yeah.
be individual, just be my own version of life, like not following some trail that's already paved. So I
But
didn't
like
do a lot of graffiti. I didn't do like illegal graffiti
uh,
really. I didn't see like that as my goal to just get my name everywhere. Like I do sticker slaps around the city, but like only a little bit of graffiti was in my history. And I much prefer when I can like take my time on one of these large scale pieces. I have permission. Yeah.
so also okay. Um, I was a pretty good student as well. I was also hard headed. I still haven't shook that one. So you got all these murals, right? Like you've painted bigger than I've ever done, and it seems like you've done it like hundreds of times. Like the basketball court, the walls, even your partnerships. Like how did you where did the learning of monetizing your artwork, but also like it's F dot everywhere, like you're not just necessarily trying to do brand guidelines even though you have education in it, but you're getting paid to be F dot. Like I'm not trying to be in your pockets, but how are you, because a lot of people don't feel validated if they're not selling, so then they just kind of closet their art, or they don't feel like that wall is meant for them, or how, like you're painting basketballs and concrete and big buildings and being a top name in blockchain and NFTs. How, like, where's your mindset for this happening? How are these relationships spawning? Like, how do you seize these moments? Because you work hard, bro. Like you have a lot of work. Like I look at your stuff and I'm like, unless you just got it hoarded everywhere, I'm like, this dude's pumping out artwork and I'm still working on this thing right here, this piece right here behind me. That thing been there for almost a year and a half. And I got another one over here is blank. I've been looking at it for 6 months. And it's like, bro, just put something down. And I'm maybe it's, I don't know. Where's this juice coming from, bro?
I guess I've been surrounded by in New York a lot of people who are focused on achieving their dreams. Ever since when I was at school, I helped organize a TEDx conference, and it was my first time that I got surrounded by like these top performing, innovative idea people that like want to
Yeah.
change the world, and they're willing to put in the hours to do it. And so that really inspired me. I helped co-organize like a TEDx there, and I didn't give a TED talk or anything, but I was around that, and I've always been attracted to people who are just at the top of their game or are doing something interesting and different. And I think that is where I leaned, is just how can I create something that you see it and you want to engage with it, and on top of that, you can recognize it. So it's a part of this family of styles or approaches that I've been working on, and
Yeah.
that really has helped me to stand out and to just focus on getting higher quality gigs. But I will say I share the ones that are my favorites. I don't share all the projects that I do. Some of them are more to keep my business going, and there's no shame in that. Uh, I did a mural at the end of last year, and they turned out they just wanted the style that I did like 5 years ago, and
Oh shit. Yeah.
it was not abstract art. It was not illustration. It was more lettering based, which is
Yeah.
what I was doing before all this. And I did it. I did the project, but I don't really feel like sharing it because I didn't come up with the words that I was lettering. It wasn't my
I
message. It
see.
wasn't my piece. It was just more generic, and that's what they wanted, and that's okay. I just don't have to share that. But it does mean that I'm taking time away from things that I do care about, and that's
Mhm.
always hard. But sometimes you just got to do that as a creative.
Yeah. Damn, man. I was always jealous of places like New York growing up. That's because like what I mean is I used to watch Hey Arnold as a kid, and Hey Arnold I think is in Philadelphia, but
Is it?
yeah, I think so. Yeah, but I lived in St. Louis. I'm from St. Louis, so everything's like I need my parents to drive me to do stuff. Like the kids in my neighborhood weren't necessarily artistic, or I moved out to the suburbs, so like that wasn't artistic, and even the city of St. Louis isn't necessarily like giving like that. So like when I used to watch like Hey Arnold and Arnold and Gerald and all the friends, they could just walk to the diner. I'm like, who are these 12-year-old kids just walking to the diner? And I was so envious of the East Coast. So like in New York, where I feel like you walk and you can casually come across people and their energies, and like you have the birth of hip hop, you got Studio 54, you got all these things there. Uh, do you like that type of? Did you grow up with like a Rat Pack? Like you said, you had the bad group, and then you surround yourself. Do you have like a core group of art guys or girls or thems and days out in New York where y'all just kind of circulate still?
Well, there was the early Instagram wave that happened when I first left. Well, I guess it happened like while I was at that job. The cool thing about that gig is I was able to share projects as I did them. They were pretty short, medium term. So I was like, they just had infinite number of walls to put art on, and I was in the right place at the right time. I could talk about luck. I think the idea of like getting a gig like that helped me a lot, but I was ready for it. I had the portfolio. I knew myself well enough to be able to receive that luck and take it. So I think that's half the battle with getting lucky, is just being ready for it. Or the more luck surface area you have, the luckier you get. I also
Right?
wanted to
Yeah.
like circle back on one of your last question, which was about like monetizing the work.
Yeah,
I,
yeah, yeah, for sure.
because I didn't really go deep on that at all. And then remind me again of the other question after I finish this. But basically, I realized that there were certain things that I could do innately, like it came natural to me, that
Yeah.
were also seen as a high value to the world. It's like that ikigai concept of
Mm,
what you're good at, what you love to do, what the world needs, and what you can get paid to do. And
yeah.
if you can find that Venn diagram overlap of that, it's a really good sweet spot to be in. So I
Oh
was
wow.
just really keeping an eye and an ear out for opportunities that felt like it all fitted within that. And even if I wasn't getting paid a lot back then, I could see
Mm,
examples of people who were doing murals and large scale installations and projects that I was like, and I found out through talking to friends that, yeah, those are some higher budget projects and it's a real career you can build. And then on the side, always doing my art, always just expressing myself however I wanted. But I could never see myself doing something besides art or design to fund my dream of having my own studio. I couldn't go so far out of the creative world to like, because I always just wanted to be getting practice. It's like trying
yeah.
to get good at a sport, but you're spending all your time flipping burgers. Like,
Yeah, bro.
you should be on the field being a ball boy or whatever. And then you
Yeah.
get better at tennis just from observing the
Yeah.
game, you know?
Yeah. Did you play sports?
I did play tennis and ran track and baseball when I was a kid, but then as soon as I had to start working out for that, and I was around the time that I found skateboarding, I was just like, fuck that. I'm not going to go work out and get sore, so I can't go to the skate park and have fun there. So it was over.
Talking about
Over.
following your path. You're like, fuck that shit, bro.
Yeah, I didn't.
You're
I
like,
mean,
you looked at them weights, you're like, mm-mm.
pretty much. What about you, man? Were you into sports?
Yeah, man. I played Division I basketball.
Oh yeah, I think we talked about this.
Yeah, man. I
Yeah.
played college basketball. I played um I ran cross country freshman year, did some football, I got cut from the volleyball team, which was crazy.
What's the longest
Uh
distance you ever ran?
7 miles. It
Could
was
you do it
freshman year.
again?
I could do it again.
Would
Not
you?
right now, but give me some time. I play basketball like 3 or 4 days a week now, so my stamina's getting up there. Long distance is another fucking beast. I think cross country is like one of the hardest sports ever.
Yeah,
It's like
I,
all willpower.
I can sprint, but I can't go much further than like a quarter mile, like half a mile, and then I started getting knots in my stomach. I want to go fast is the thing. I'm much better on
Oh,
wheels.
yeah, yeah,
Pacing
yeah. No,
myself is hard.
after mile 3, my body was just on autopilot. I couldn't even feel anything.
You ever
You
do
running
a
up
ice
hills?
plunge?
No, I don't. That wasn't at
Cold
my high
plunge?
school around that time. I never
Not
done it.
high
Have you?
school. I mean, more recently. Like, do you ever do like a sauna and a cold plunge?
Oh yeah, I've done that. Me and my girlfriend, we did that before.
I know that was a random question, but you're talking about endurance, and I just think about like when you get into the cold plunge, your body's like, "What are you doing here? Get out of here! Stop doing that!"
The shock,
And then
yeah,
and then you keep breathing and you get through it, and like all of a sudden, time just kind of disappears, and it's kind of similar to like what you were saying with running.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and the same thing with drawing and painting too. Like you can feel that resistance in the beginning of like, this sucks. I don't know where to
Mhm.
start. I don't like this idea. And then once you push through that resistance and you breathe into that flow, it's just much more natural.
Yeah, man, I saw your 5 minute, 5 minute, 5 pictures in 5 minutes or something like that.
Oh yeah, love drawing
Where,
in 5 minutes. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, they asked you a question and you just knocked it out. Yeah, I think that's one of the things that I like admire about your work. One, it doesn't all look the same. You have like evolution in your artwork. Like you have your dot situations, but then you have your one eye character. But then you also have you can fill up pieces, and you have a range to your style, which I really like. Um,
Thanks, man.
how are you like where how do you get like creative block? But it seems like you just like pump it, like that's what it seems like, you pump them out. And the roadblocks that I run into is, and I've been working on getting past it, is trying to make a piece of paper count, or a, you know what I mean, like you get so caught up like this has to be perfect, or I'm wasting my time or something. How are
Yeah,
you are you trying to give everything such a deep meaning, or are you just kind of going with flow and rhythm?
I think with the minting, I am trying to give pieces more meaning when it comes to like finalizing it and publishing it.
Yeah.
But when I'm just messing around, like today, I spent an hour on a piece that is just like a paper drawing that I was doing to scratch my own itch and just get something out that it was sitting there on the drawing table for a little while. And I was like, I think I know what it needs. And
Hmm.
I'm not trying to force anything. I'm just trying to get that out. And that might become a mural in the future. That might become something totally different that I can't predict. But I'm trying to solve the visual puzzle that is that piece, and
Yeah.
let it kind of speak to me as it goes. And a lot of times I'll put things down for weeks or months. Usually, I haven't really put a piece down for more than a year and like picked it back up years later. But sometimes things just sit around until I'm like ready to work on them, and a mood strikes or a thought strikes. When it comes to more structured collections, that's a little harder for me. And um, working on that more in a more disciplined way is kind of necessary to get it done.
Do you have a team?
I have one part-time assistant that helps me mainly with shipping of
Yeah.
physical things and some outreach for commercial work, and like client communication, random things around the studio. But that's it.
Nice.
And then I collaborate with animators, and I work sometimes with people to like really elevate it. So I can do Procreate, frame by frame. But After Effects is a whole different animal. And if I have a more
Yeah.
complex vision for an animation, I'll just like hire a friend who's an animator to work
I
on it.
dig it. What you think we want to get a PFP? What's your character called with the one eye?
The Blob.
Yeah, the blob. Or we're gonna get a blob small PFP collection.
It won't be a Blob PFP collection, but something that could be used as a PFP that goes beyond that character
Okay.
is in the works. And I talked about it before, but it's like my hieroglyphs, my glyphs, my icons that I draw everywhere. I've
Mm-hmm.
been working on like almost like a visual language for everything that I do, to have the
Oh
basic
wow, yeah.
the basic unit be one of these characters, one of these glyphs. Um,
And do they have like inherent meaning, like kanji or something? Or
that's the part where I'm actually most interested in developing it with collectors. Like I want
oh, nice.
people to feel when that project is ready. I want people to feel like they can participate in it
Yeah.
and help me define them. And I will have suggestions. I will have thoughts, but yeah, that's been brewing for a while, along with the generative art collab that I teased last year at Marfa. What
That
about you?
hasn't dropped yet.
That hasn't dropped yet. I was talking with some places that no longer exist,
Mm-hmm.
so um, there is a home for it, and it will be coming soon. But
I dig it.
yeah, happy that it finally found a home. I didn't want to just drop it on my own. Like I wanted help really presenting it, doing an event,
Yeah.
etc. So, what about you, man? What are you working on?
Yeah,
Been in-
man. The bulk of my work is my team got a tech startup. It's called Wherever. where
Yeah,
we still working on that. We got hit up by A16Z. We made it through the first wave. We got to send in a video for their accelerator program, which is sick.
big
And
moves.
then yeah, man, and then we apply for like a federal grant. So like, fingers crossed, and a few other things brewing with that. But as on the art tip, I have a PFP collection I've been working on called the Imposters.
Yeah,
And at first I was going to drop it on Ordinals because they have like these Pepe costumes on, but it's like people in these costumes. Because I feel like everyone in blockchain is kind of faking it till they make it, and everyone feels like an imposter. Like everybody's talking about this, that, and the third, but you only understand like a quarter of what you're saying or what you hear, and it's like we get in where we fit in, and then you figure out the rest. Because sitting in those inscription rooms, especially back in the day, was like I'm pretty savvy at this tech shit, and I don't know what the fuck y'all talking about. Like, this is crazy. So it's like all of and the jargon. So what's to expect from the average person to try to understand or even like acquire this stuff or be a part of it? So that's kind of what's inspired by. We're gonna probably use those funds to fund my startup. That's my co-founder Jack, who's a full stack. But yeah, I've been pretty much focused on that and trying to get some art things out here and there. I did the rodeo thing. Did you get in rodeo?
I got in like the first week that they launched the thing, but I still haven't posted my work. I just been collecting.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. And it's also like it's a good way, I think. For actually, I want to know what your thoughts are on it.
Before we move on to that, I wanted to know how you enjoy working with your co-founder, because I never had a co-founder for my main thing before. It's always been like projects, annual events that I have a partner for, never like a full
Yeah.
business.
Oh well, my co-founder and I, we met during the pandemic, and so we've been working since like 2021 when we dropped our first project together. And yeah, we get along. We've had ups and downs like any other uh, um, group, I guess, co-founders. Maybe some are all perfect, but I think the one I really enjoy about it is we're able to resolve and talk, and realize we have our disagreements. And at first, it was just kind of fun because we were just dropping projects here and there. We split whatever we split, and then we just still hang out and do events and stuff together. Only within the year
Oh,
we've been like, can you hear me now?
yeah, you're good.
Yeah. So only within the year, where we're not just dropping projects here and there, are we like we're incorporated. Like we have like our startup is incorporated. My title is CEO, his title is CTO. We have splits. We're represented by Fenwick, which is like Google Labs is represented by them. So it's like an arm and a leg for 2 minutes. Uh, but my point, I say all that to say is like, when you say, what is it like to work with him? I really have to do research on what a CEO is and like what they do. Like I read Zero to One by the founder of Zero to One book that's written by the founder of PayPal. I watched read Rewrite Own. The Hard Thing About Hard Things by Ben Horowitz. Like I like took a deep dive on like startup CEOs, and I one, you can't buy enthusiasm. Like you cannot purchase enthusiasm or give a fuck from a person. And the thing that I like about my business partner is he is dedicated. He's involved and he's proactive. So like, and understands his role and is not afraid to speak his mind, and we can compromise and talk. So I think when I couldn't ask for a better co-founder, especially a tech co-founder who's also creative, like he has a patent on a trapezoidal backpack design thing that plays music.
Whoa.
He's also creative. So we have a nice energy, man. It's like developing a startup like what we have. It's easy to create things with somebody who doesn't need me to wireframe everything.
This is the developer that you worked with on your last few projects then, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I remember you were working with him when we were chatting in your studio.
Yeah. We've been working for a minute, man. It's been fun, And I think it's great that we found each other naturally versus like some type of like like some type of founders website, aggregator or something. Yeah, man. What do you see for the future of blockchain? How are you looking at it from a creative standpoint? It seems like you're really pushing the narratives on smart contracts. Like, we got a few minutes. I want to really just like tap into what's Efdot's future on perspective on artistry inside the blockchain and outside the blockchain.
Well, my ethos has always been to try and uplift people and bring them together through these artful experiences, whether it's an IRL event that has a curation of a bunch of artists together, like a residency or a Canal Street show that we do each NFT NYC. And then that's off the blockchain and on the blockchain, trying to find ways to involve people around the world through like bespoke experiences, like the one I was talking about with deciphering the language together. That's like where my head's at, and trying to figure out ways to lean more into the technology and put as much of my human spirit as I can into the hard lines of code, and to work with really brilliant people. Like I mentioned, the generative collab, but I didn't shout out Did, who's been my partner on this the last couple of years, like really working with me and helping me translate some of the ideas I've been doing with paint and other physical materials into digital art in ways that I could never do it alone, and in more expansive ways and in more imaginative ways. The machine can dream really well, right? So
Crazy, right? Yeah.
yeah, if you let it, if you give it the right parameters, I'm enjoying that part about the digital world. But in terms of like the blockchain, just using it as a ledger, like documenting some of these moments that are really key collections and highlights for me, to bring others together around the campfire that is my art. And then also learn from some of the best and collect some of the best people around me, the things that inspire me to give back. Because I think that transparent aspect of seeing how we all support each other is going to mean a lot more in a decade from now than it does right now. And it still means a lot right now. So especially now in an uncertain market for this stuff, it seems like regulations are coming through and making it a little easier to run businesses in Web3. But we don't know what the future holds in terms of traditional art world colliding, or even the street art world colliding with this Web3 world we've built. It's been sort of siloed off, and I want to see more integration. So I'm going to lead the way and create those experiences how I can, and pace myself and try to give back as much as I can too, and work with these causes I care about.
Damn, man. Yeah, like even with your optimism branding thing that you did after the fire at your studio, which I saw it looked awful. I would have melted. I would have been distraught had I lost a space with like a bunch of my art in it. And for those who don't know, Efdot studio burned down in New York, and the only thing that he found was a art piece that he was working on. It was lettering, and it said Optimist. And then he created a production studio essentially to create products called Optimist, and then use those proceeds to donate to, was it homeless people or what was the?
Yeah, it was homeless charities and also people who had lost their homes in similar disasters.
That's nuts, man. Yeah. Way to apply your energy.
Dude, I was getting so many blessings at the time from people who cared and wanted to help me get back on my feet, that I didn't need all the support that I was getting. So I tried to at least take my time and put it towards a project that could overflow and help more people. That's what I've tried to do ever since. And that was a big defining moment for me, because I saw that art was one of the things that remained physically and obviously mentally. I was thinking about how I could create a new version of a studio that was more suitable, more ideal than the last, and try to uplift as many people as I can along the way with that story, and with similar stories, and telling the stories of other causes and people that I care about. I feel like I'm repeating myself a bit.
No, bro, you good, man. Talk your shit, bro.
I want to keep painting murals out in the world and then bringing them into this digital world, and then creating more of a tie so that people who pass by the mural kind of know more about what's going on here.
Yeah.
And that would be really cool to figure out more this year as I get the mural gigs. I'm very selective with the walls because I don't want to just paint a random alleyway that no one's going to see. Like I want to ideally get a big side of a building that's on a major street. That would be
because you talked about time, bro. You want to optimize your time.
To an to an extent. I feel like sometimes we try too hard to optimize our time, and then we miss smelling the roses that are right in front of us.
Yep.
And then when we're feeling bent out of shape because something didn't go the way we wanted, it's like, man, why did I put so much effort into that? Into optimization when it should have just been more about enjoying. But that's a balance and a constant like scale that's tipping back and forth, right? Of presence and optimizing for the future.
Future, especially as an artist, man, is kind of scary.
What about you, man? What's your ethos with blockchain?
I really enjoy the freedom of it and being able to speak directly to the people that are interested in you. And I like the tokenization behind it, like granting access and really being able to award people and experiences because you can find that they're genuinely intrigued in you as a person. And it's not just like, oh, I bought this print. And then it's kind of like if you forget the artist's name or you lose a print, they kind of like in hindsight. But I think this historic ledger that we have of like you said, it might not mean so much now, but like you can look like, damn, I got that piece from like 2021. It's like 2050 or something, you know, and you can always have this tethered to each other. And I think that's something special there. I do feel like it's very complicated still. But it's like a double-edged sword in a way where it was something special. It's something special about it being complicated. But when it started to cannibalize itself, because it was only a finite amount of people that can collect art and so many artists, right? I think the artists ran the amount of people that can, because a lot of people were bogged down by the financial part of it. And I think with the growth of it, it's kind of like this. Remember when you couldn't sell something highbrow, quote unquote highbrow, on like Solana or like Polygon because if it wasn't, it had to be on Ethereum layer 1. Do you remember? It was like this perspective on quality. Like if you didn't spend $20,000 in gas prices, it's not worth it, bro. It was this whole thing, right? But it made them grails. I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder how we'll look back on that. I don't think that it ends up mattering as much in the long run. If art history, if art history is anything for us, it's like people don't think about what platform or what auction house sold the piece. It's really just about the artist, their story, the piece, its story. I think provenance is really cool, and to look back and see like who owned this piece. So if somebody owns, I don't know if Snoop Dogg still owns the ape, but someone owns that. If it's not Snoop Dogg, and like the fact that he owned it. Is a cool story, and people
I know, right?
Stories, so
I agree.
Yeah,
because I was looking at what was it? Because like let's say for instance you designed a Fortnite outfit that was and you only dropped a limited edition of 1,000 of those, and then let's fast forward 15 years from now, and someone's like, "Yo, you got the Efdot from 2025 or whatever." It's only 1,000 of those, and they don't care if it's on Polygon or base or whatever, you know what I mean? I think that's where that's nerd world right there. When and also just perception. I just think the growth of digital art is going to be beautiful. It's going to get scary because I think it's going to be more AI art than regular art, which is. I just had this thing like when I'm on rodeo, I can't collect AI generated art. It might just be me.
I collect it. It's a good question. I don't know if that was a question, but it's
it was a question for sure.
I love collecting art over there. I'm able to discover new artists almost every day that I tune it in and that I pick it up. I think they still are under like 3,000 or so active people like posting and collecting every day. So it's a relatively small, but not so small that everyone kind of community. And I do collect AI art, but I'm very selective because it does take away some of the feeling for me when I can tell by looking at it that it came out of a specific AI. I just feel like, where's the artist in there? Of course, like it can be a very detailed prompt and like that's work to come up with an idea that's profound. And I don't think you can do all that with AI, like really having interesting ideas that are complex more than like I don't know, just a basic psychedelic illustration. Like you do have to do work. And I think the remixing and the collaging in AI is what I love, is when you see something that's not just one output, but it's a really complex looking thing, or it animates in a way that feels kind of more handmade.
Yeah.
Or at least just gets you your thinking. If it changes the way you think, then that's valuable to me. But
Hell yeah.
it's rare. It's rare. Only a few AI artists I've seen do it extremely well, like consistently.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mostly use it when I freelance for advertising jobs, and I'll use it to help comp up some stuff for the client really quick. Which back then I had to like take a can and take a design and wrap the can and do the thing. Now I can just like, it almost feels like cheating.
Yeah, I mean, for commercial stuff, it speeds up a lot of the ideation process, because you can create, one option and then you get variations. Like you could put your own work into AI and then get the variations and remix. And that's a whole other side of AI assisted art, is like handmade work that is being fed into the machine to produce something that's a blend.
Yeah, you like train it on Efdot style. That'd be kind of crazy, bro. You probably feel some type of way. It's like do Efdot and then just like spin out like 1,000 of them. We couldn't even tell the difference as collectors either. Man, we're at the top of the hour, Mr. Efdot, the man, the myth, the legend himself. How you feeling, man? You out in New York, man. Thank you for joining me for Artist to Artist. I know it's a bit later over there, so thanks for
It's not too late. It's 8:00. I'm doing great. About to have some dinner. Maybe do a little more drawing tonight. Some more work.
What's for din?
Got some pizza, some leftovers.
Okay, hell yeah, I love leftovers. I think that shit underrated.
I found out that in certain places they don't, like, leftovers are like really frowned upon. Like people don't eat leftovers like they eat them in the States.
Bro, that's crazy. I love when I don't finish a meal at a restaurant. I'm taking that shit home to toss it in the air fryer for sure. Efdot, man, thank you for joining, spending your time with me for this hour for Artist to Artist Conversations. We've had this twice in real life, one-on-one, once in Chicago. The second time was in Austin, Texas. And I'm glad we get to bring it back full circle online for everybody on X and Instagram to check us out and hear about your awesome story, bro. And I'm wishing you all the luck for the future and for you to keep killing shit and to be creating and inspiring relentlessly, bro.
Man, thank you. Thank you so much, dude. It was great catching up with you and hearing about what you're working on as well. Good luck with wherever and all the art projects you're up to as well. I can't wait to see it. Send me some works in progress if you got them lurking around the studio, and let me know when you're in New York next time too.
Hell yeah. Bless, bro. Appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Have a good night. Talk to you soon. Peace.
Yep.